Hey guys, welcome to Beyond the Boat Press podcast. I'm Antonio. I'm here with Brian and David McNealy. David's one of the engineers down at PSE, and he's going to walk us through kind of the new 2026 lineup for this year. Before we get into that, David, do you want to introduce yourself and kind of go from there?
Yeah, thanks, Antonio. So, yeah, as Antonio said, I am David McNealy. I'm one of the engineers at PSE. I do design and product development there. I've been with the company for about 5 years now and have been shooting archery for about 18 years. So I got into archery young, wanted to hunt, and so I was telling Brian, so I actually specifically went to school, got my degree to try to design bows as an engineer. That was my passion since I was about 14 years old.
That's right.
And have been fortunate enough to start living that dream. Um, but yeah, we're doing some really exciting things this year with the new bows, new speed bows, Sicario, new cam, the FDS cam. Um, yeah, my boss, he is kind of our lead cam designer, most tenured engineer. He's been there for about 20 years. I assist him, brainstorm with him. I do all the testing in person at the factory, shoot all of our bows. And yeah, it's been a blast so far.
Sweet.
Pretty cool. Hey, so going back to the engineering thing, you said you went to school to become a bow engineer. That's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
In this industry, is that pretty common that the guys that are into designing bows or die hard came up, that's what they wanted to do, or they just kind of had an engineering job and I got into a bow company and now I'm designing bows. Do you know?
So all I can speak for is a couple guys that I know in the industry. So my boss, Kevin, he's similarly, PSE is actually the only job he's had as an engineer. Came out into it straight from college, avid bow hunter his whole life. So the two of us have very similar backgrounds in that sense. I know a couple other engineers at other companies that grew up the same. One guy that I know I grew up with in California that is at a different company, and another guy that I shot with in college that ended up at another company. So I do think a lot of the engineers in this industry come from passionate backgrounds.
That's good.
Good to hear.
Because you hear in so many other industries that, they just needed a job and they got into it and they're not really passionate about it. It's always good when you have people that are diehard bow hunters designing bow hunting stuff with the guys. So
Yeah.
cool. It's awesome.
Quick little fun fact about David here, Brian. I don't know if he told you, but he is like a mountain lion magnet. He just finds them left and right. Doesn't matter what day it is. For some reason, he's always going to find one.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went my entire life without finding one until 2 years ago. And in the last 2 years, I've found 16.
16 mountain lions
Yep.
in 2 years.
All glassed up.
You and I need to go hunt together because I can count on one hand how many mountain lions I've seen in the wild, and two of those are in downtown Sholo. So it's like I can never find mountain lions. A guy was in there today showing me a video of a mountain lion stunning on a rock in Unit 1 this weekend. It's just sitting there licking his paws. I'm like, man, I can't ever find the daggone things. That's
Yep.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
So you mentioned the Sicario, David. Is that the new bow for this year?
Yeah, that is the new bow we're launching for this year. So I have it right here. Been shooting it for about 6 months now. So this is in our black color, obviously. It's got our accessories all decked out on it. This is how I hunt out here in Arizona. So I'll kind of run through the specs with you guys on this bow. So it is kind of a designated speed carbon bow.
Okay.
It's a 33-inch axle to axle, 5 1/4 static brace height, IBO speed of 357. That's with the performance mod that we have for it. 354 with a high let off mod. That's your standard 30 inches, 70 pounds, 350 grain arrow.
Is that the mod that you guys shipped out? Does it come in standard with the standard mod on it? Then we didn't get the performance mod, right?
Correct. Yep. Comes standard with the high let off mod. High let off mod goes from 85% on the top end down to 70%. in 5% increments. So we dropped the max let off from 90 to 85, but we are actually offering 4 increments instead of 3. So now there's really no need for those guys who want low let off mods versus high let off mods. We have one that'll cover that whole spectrum.
That's
Nice.
good.
And I was shooting that boat today, and I was getting 353, 354 consistently. So
Yeah.
it's legit. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it maxes draw length wise at 30 inches and goes down to 24 and a half inches. So like I said, it's really geared towards those average draw length, performance driven guys, and or those guys that are maybe on a little bit shorter draw length side, 27 inches. You're going to get incredible speeds with this bow.
That's awesome. So you guys still have the one sliding module. Have you noticed a loss in efficiency with that? I know a lot of other companies go to individual modules for draw length adjustment, or like one module that has just a little bit. Are you noticing a difference in that?
No, so we've really had time since we've had that sliding module for so long now to tweak it in. And again, my boss Kevin, he's the cam wizard when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, we from a speed perspective, we pretty much lose about that 10 to 11 feet a second per inch all the way from the top end to the bottom end of the cam. There's no drop in efficiency throughout the cam. What you will notice is maybe a little bit of a feel difference in that draw force curve throughout those draw length settings. Naturally, it's going to be slightly more aggressive towards the top of the cam and slightly easier towards the middle and the bottom of that cam.
Gotcha. So
Yeah, I
kind of
noticed
more
that today
fast.
shooting at 30 inches that it's fairly aggressive at 30 inches. It dropped it to 29 and it was like a completely different bow at 29 inches.
Oh, that's where you should be at.
29?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect draw length. What are like the two main differences, or I guess couple differences that you're seeing between the EC2 and the FDS cam? Because everybody loves the EC2 cam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the EC2 cam has done super, super well for us. It's kind of renowned as being one of the smoothest cams out there, and while having really good performance still. So we basically, the goal of this cam, unlike say the E2 cam from the past, that was purely a performance driven cam. It got incredible speeds, but I think we can all agree it was a little bit on the harsh side. This cam we specifically designed to achieve better performance while having very minimal impact to feel. And we did that in a couple different ways. I'll show a draw force curve here in a minute is actually what's going on there. But the other big benefit is we've been pushing this full draw stability stuff and effective brace height the last couple years. It's something that I actually personally discovered and correlated. It wasn't necessarily something that was originally designed into the product. It was, why do our bows shoot so well? Why does this bow shoot better than this bow? And I started comparing stuff, and I found basically effective brace height, which I have a little diagram here. And what effective brace height is the distance on the cam where the string leaves the cam at full draw. And it's that vertical line measured to the throat of the grip, rather than static brace height is obviously where the string leaves the cam at brace. So that static brace height on the Sicario is 5.25. And effective brace height from a spec standpoint is measured at 29 inches, just so it's nice and standard, because it does vary in different draw length settings. You typically get more effective brace height and the shorter draw settings, and slightly less effective brace height in the longer draw settings. But that effective brace height goes from the 5.25 at static to a whopping 6.5 at full draw on this new cam. And this new cam is approximately 7/8 of an inch more effective brace height than the EC predecessor. That was our whole goal, is design this cam around increasing that effective brace height. And what that does is help resist torque at full draw. One of the ways I like to kind of correlate it, I think that people can understand and really get is think about shooting angles in your third axis. So the whole reason we have third axis on a sight is to compensate for small amounts of torque variance in your bow hand when you're shooting angles.
Okay.
So what this increased distance is doing is actually reducing those amounts of torque, how much it can torque. When you move that pivot point away from each other, it's harder to torque because it's farther away from your hand.
Gotcha.
Therefore lessening all those effects. Obviously it's applicable to shooting flat, not just shooting angles. Any tiny little bit of variance in your hand is going to get covered up by this type of system.
And that's going to translate into a more forgiving shot and especially more at distance, I'm gathering.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, and that effective brace sight kind of came into play this last year. We started hearing about it more, started us at a shop standpoint, we were able to talk to people more about it and explain it. And I think people really kind of started buying into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Well,
Yeah.
we
that's
started talking about it and started looking at different bows, different manufacturers with it as well.
Mhm.
There's one bow in the market that's very popular this year that it gets quite a bit shorter
Mm-hmm.
at full draw. So, but bringing that into people we've always talked about brace size since the day of the bows. So also when we start talking about it's effective brace sight or dynamic brace sight, it's a whole nother lingo for people that really makes them want to think about things. And again, we're all trying to. I mean, bows are accurate. It's usually the person that's inducing something into this makes it more inaccurate or less forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So we're always trying to look for a more forgiving platform, obviously, and that's what it sounds like. This is accomplishing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the whole goal. Like I said, any bow out there nowadays will shoot fantastic if you don't, influence it basically.
Right.
So what we're trying to do as a company is to reduce your influence on that bow and let that bow do what that bow wants to do, basically.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I've told people for years, I'm not trying to make my bow. You're going to miss. I just want my misses to be smaller,
Exactly.
and that's what we're accomplishing with this effective brace sight.
Yep, correct. Yeah, that's how
Gotcha.
I judge a bow setup personally, is when you make that shot, you're hitting where you expect to hit. If you were holding in the middle, you hit the middle. If you were holding a little bit off, you hit where you were aiming, not, oh, I was aiming an inch off and I hit 6 inches off. It should make sense. It should hit behind the pin.
Gotcha.
So PSC the last 2 years has won bow of the year with the Mach 30 and the Mach 33. So now we're kind of changing that platform, going with a new cam system. I know the FDS cam is going to be available on the Mach 33 and the Mach 30. What sort of changes are you going to see on those bows having that new cam on it?
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough. I've had the FDS cam for about a year now. I actually hunted with it on a Mach 33 all January and was able to harvest a coos deer with that bow. And what they're mirror draw lengths. So your draw length range on those previous platforms is going to be exactly the same.
Okay.
And then the biggest thing is your performance. So you are going to see anywhere from a 7 to up to a 10 foot a second increase in speed at the same draw length, same draw weight. Again, while hopefully the idea is to maintain a very similar feel. And then again, you're also getting that 7/8 of an inch larger effective brace height still on those platforms as well. So should be more stable for aiming torsionally and better performance. There's also, again, the let off and the draw stops. We actually updated those. So instead of having the little cord rubber stop on the stops,
Yeah,
we have more of a flat to slightly radius stop with a pad on it that should produce more firm back walls to really good feel there. Yeah. Otherwise, I do have kind of some draw force curve comparisons
Oh yeah.
specifically on the Mach 33. Since I think a lot of people have been able to shoot that bow or even own that bow with EC2 cams, they kind of know what to expect, what that feels like, what kind of performance they're getting out of that bow. So this is a actual chart of a Mach 33 EC2 cam versus FDS cam. So this red line, that red plot is the FDS cam, and the black plot is the EC2 cam. And so there's a few kind of key areas here I want to point out. Is you have your ramp up right here. So this is, from brace to peak weight. And what's happening is your FDS cam is ramping up slightly faster, but it also rolls over about a half inch earlier at a lower draw weight right here. So what's happening is you're rolling over while you have more leverage on the system before you're overextended. And then here, so these lines represent peak weight. So this is the peak weight where the FDS cam reaches, and this is peak weight where the EC2 cam reaches. So FDS cam actually reaches peak weight about 3 inches earlier than the EC2. And again, the whole theory is that you have more mechanical advantage earlier in your draw cycle to hit that peak weight. And then it immediately starts letting off. And the FDS cam lets off at a slower rate, but a more consistent rate, versus the EC2 holds peak weight and then starts letting off faster, and actually has this like 2-stage effect right here that some people may be able to feel, versus the FDS is
less of that drop off in the back.
correct. Yeah, it's a very consistent, smooth drop into that back wall. And then you can see that mismatch right there is the difference in holding weight between 85 and 90%. But what this is doing is that you're getting this, again, very smooth, very consistent feel all the way through the draw cycle. And this area difference right here between these curves on both end is where we're storing energy and where that performance is coming from. So the way I like to describe it is that we found a way, the most efficient, fastest draw force curve is basically, would be like a square or a rectangle, straight up, over, and straight down. But that's also terrible feeling. Like it ramps up super fast and then it goes and it just dumps into the back wall. It feels awful.
We've had some of those in the past.
Exactly. Yeah. So our goal here is to maximize energy, but we're trying to hide it in areas where you don't notice it because it feels right to your body, where it's smooth transitions and it's happening at a point that's natural through the draw cycle.
So I mean, looking at that thing, I back to that chart on the valley. Is the FTS going to have a shorter valley than what the EC has, obviously?
So valley's a strange thing because modern bows and cams don't necessarily have what people actually imagine as being like real valley, where there's like a lag zone.
Yeah.
What it is it's your holding weight, whatever that value is, and then it's the rate at which it ramps back up into the draw cycle. So you are holding more weight because of the lower let off by, say, 2 or 3 pounds. But since that rate that it's ramping back up is lower, it should not want to pull you into the cam as much or as fast.
So as somebody creeps off there a little bit, it's not going to be like the old Omen days and things like that, where it wants to take your shoulder off. It's
correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So I've gone down to PSC a few times and shot both of your bows. I noticed you switched from the Mach 33 FDS to the Sicario.
Mm-hmm.
What's your ideology behind that? Or
yeah, so like I said, I actually have both of them set up here. So this is that Mach 33, fully decked out with FDS cams. So traditionally, our 33-inch, normal 33-inch platforms are my favorite bows. I love 33-inch axle to axle, and generally speaking, I love that like 6.5-inch brace height. Always shot really well for me. I set that bow up, and the 33 with the FDS cam was the best shooting bow I had ever set up. With great speed, still again that solid 8 feet a second faster than my EC2s on that bow. Now, as an engineer at the company, and again, one of the primary guys testing this equipment, I feel the need to set up all of our high-end bows and at least give them a try, run them through the paces and see what they can do, make sure they're on par with where they need to be. But some platforms just don't necessarily agree with my hunting style. For instance, I have a Mach 30 here with the FDS cams. I do have one. I've shot it. I have it set up in case I do ground blind stuff, but it's not necessarily the platform for me. Now, the Sicario. Again, I thought it was going to be a platform that I would just set up, shoot, test, and I didn't think I was really going to like it that much because of that short brace height. Like, I'm just typically not a short brace height guy. But after I set it up and I shot it for about a month, genuinely, I don't know that I would say that it shoots better than my Mach 33, but I think it absolutely shoots as well as my Mach 33 does. And I see basically zero drop in that forgiveness factor. Again, when I shoot, it is hitting where I'm aiming. It is hitting where I expect it to hit. There's no increase in misses. There's no lack in forgiveness there. And compared to the Mach 33 with FDS cams, you're talking another 14 to 15 feet a second increase. And again, the big thing now is comparing those two platforms cam to cam on two different platforms. If you compare the Sicario with the FDS cam compared to the Mach 33 with the EC2 cam, which is what most guys would have right now, you're looking at a bow that once you shoot it and you kind of buy into it, is going to shoot genuinely, I think is capable of shooting just as well. And you're going to expect to see about 25 feet a second increases.
Oh, wow.
That's a
Wow.
lot.
Yeah. So what that buys you is the ability to drop weight with the same weight arrow and shoot the same speed, or do what I did. And I actually had to up my arrow weight to 500 grains to get it back down to a speed that I wanted to shoot fixed blades at. And now
Yeah.
I'm at like 92 foot pounds of kinetic energy.
It's going to be an interesting lineup this year with them. It's going to be kind of I'm curious to see where the consumer ends up creeping on the side of the fence. And these days, kind of goes with that 33 with the FDS or with the Sicario. I'm curious to see how this is going to wrap up this year because two great bows, like you said yourself. It's kind of a toss up the way how they shoot, how they feel, basically. So interesting.
Yep. Yeah, I think one of the big things, I think that I'm fortunate enough having the job that I have and having the access that I have to shoot these bows is I can totally understand how your average consumer, if I was an average consumer back when I was an average consumer, again, you see a bow like a Sicario, you see that short brace height, and it scares you. You don't know if you want to risk a purchase like that on a bow that you don't know if it's going to perform or not. And I would genuinely say for guys that if you're on the edge, I mean, definitely go into your shop and try them out, try both of them side by side, see how they feel. But I think they'll be pleasantly surprised on how that Sicario shoots.
Well, for just history past, 5 1/4 is like that's people run from that as soon as they hear that, like no, not for me. So it's just gonna be, hey, get the bow in your hand, let's do it. And it's hard, we're talking about this 3-yard battle we always talk about in the pro shops, and that's where we're testing bows at. And it's when you get them out there, people are afraid to have buyer's remorse. They get like, wow, it felt good in the shop, but now I'm not really liking it out here, type of thing. So it's curious to see how that's going to end up at. But I think, talking about the effective brace height, things like that, and this 5 1/4 shouldn't be nearly as scary for people as is in the past.
Yeah. So like I said, on that bow, you're going from that 5 1/4 to at 29 inches, you're going to 6.5 inches effective brace height, which again, as you mentioned to some of our competitors, that's actually longer than their effective brace height on their standard platform bows.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason why people in the past, why the 5 1/4 is such a bad thing is because it was so torquey.
Yeah.
That's the reason why. So if you say, hey, we, not as torquey, but you still get the speeds, it's a win-win for people at that point. So it's going to be an exciting time to see how that bow goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know another thing I've seen pop up, and it's something I ran into in our previous speed bows messing with them. So our new CGM cable system does push those cables back a little bit, so you do get rest clearance. You can mount up pretty much all of your standard rests. You don't have to worry about those cables interfering with any of that stuff too. It really opens the doors for how you can set your bow up.
Yeah. So we're gonna have. Sorry, Tony.
No, go ahead.
We're gonna have. Your competitors are going to come out here and say, "Hey, effective brace height is not the thing." I mean, I can see the writing on the wall right now.
Yeah.
Let's be the devil's advocate. What's going to be against effective brace height? How are they going to argue this? Because you know they're going to try.
Yeah. So the funny thing that I'll say is that, I mean, mathematically it's there. My boss went through and he created an Excel sheet. And if you do the math as to those particular pivot points, where your grip is, where the string leaves the cam, and where your hand is, I believe it's like a 20% increase in force required to torque the bow the same amount, basically. So it's a 20% benefit out of this cam versus an EC2 cam.
Right.
So mathematically, again, in that aspect, it's there. It's pretty hard to argue against something like that, in my opinion. Now, for them to say that that's the only thing that matters, or for us to say that that's the only thing that matters, obviously that's not the case. It's also why it's not as clear cut as, oh, go buy the bow that has the biggest effective brace height and it's going to shoot the best for you. You can't necessarily make that argument because all platforms are different. The bow that's going to have the largest effective brace height is a Mach 35, just because it's a larger axle bow. Most people are going to be lower in the cam. Other things about the geometry of the bow, it's not just effective brace height, full draw stability, isn't just in the cams, isn't just in the riser, the limbs, it's the whole system, and again, it also still plays into an archer's natural shooting tendencies and what their style is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we were talking about the carbon series. So the aluminum series, are we going to bring that same FDS cam into the aluminum lineup then?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're anticipating doing is we will have a decree handle with the FDS cam on it. So that bow did really well in reviews, shoots incredibly well. Now with this cam is going to have even more stability, more speed behind it. So that's our plan for this 2026 year.
Gotcha. So the decree is going to be the bow this year. No new platform. Okay.
No.
Cool. Can we talk a little bit about accessories? Always, are you involved in designing of the accessories as well and stuff like that with PSC?
Yeah, so
like the quivers and things like
designed,
that.
Yeah, I designed all of our new quiver accessory line. From the beginning, I've been shooting those products for almost 3 years now, in prototype phase through production now. Like I said, all of my bows I have decked out with our CGM quiver system. It's my favorite. I'm a Western hunter. I don't ever remove my quiver. And this is the lightest quiver on the market at 6.7 ounces. Genuinely, it's so light. I mean, you just don't even hardly notice it on your bow.
Is there ever a call for having a lot? I know this, having it on the roller guard's awesome, but is there ever a reason not to? I'm a 30-inch draw. I got a lot of arrows sticking out. I've always liked that lower pivot point. Do we ever see that coming out in the future at all?
Yeah, so we actually will be kind of revamping some of our accessory lines for 2027, as well as our aluminum lines. We got some big stuff in the works when it comes to that stuff. So something like that may be in the future.
Okay.
But yeah.
Think about us tall guys every once in a while, would you?
Right. Absolutely. But yeah, I run our stabilizers too. So they're a nice sleek profile. I run a 12-inch off the front and an 8-inch off the back. I just have 4 ounces on front and 3 ounces on back. I mean, it does everything I need. These bars are plenty rigid for hunting setups. Again, real low profile, clean, not a ton of wind drag there, that kind of stuff.
Are you guys also making your own disconnect brackets and side brackets?
So that is another thing that may be in the works in the future. we have produced prototypes in the past, and I've messed with them, but they don't really quite know if that's where the company wants to go in the accessory line or not at this point.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I guess you could get carried away with products. Too many SKUs. You know, one of my biggest complaints with PSC in the past is that there's too many options.
Right.
Yep.
You know, and it's like we're almost confusing customers and things on the boat side, obviously. You know, we got 3 different cams, got all these different things. People, it's hard as a shop to stock everything.
Yeah.
Or what we think is going to be the bow, and like, now I want that bow. And it's like,
Yeah.
I've always said, man, if we could just simplify it. So I'm a little, I get a little hinky when I start hearing, oh my gosh, we got a new cam out now and all these bows. But after talking to you, it's a pretty exciting cam. So it should be a fun year with that. So that's cool.
Absolutely. I've been playing with the Sicario quite a bit the last couple of days, and I am pleasantly impressed with how well it shoots. I think it's going to be a great year for it.
Yeah. You know, I was talking to Dave earlier at 30 inches, it's got a little bit of it's not the greatest field bow in the world. At 29, it's awesome. I just need to shorten my arms up somehow. I just don't know how to do that.
That's what it is.
So the thing that I'd say to those kind of guys, and again, it's picking the right bow for you, in my opinion, whether it's your draw length, that kind of stuff. So what I would really encourage a guy like yourself, because the way cams work is when you have an NFDS cam and it goes on multiple platforms. So the Sicario is a 30-inch max. Well, the Mach 33 is a 31-inch max.
Yeah.
So effectively, you're ending up in the same draw setting on a Mach 33 as a guy on a Sicario at 29.
True.
So you can expect that kind of feel while still getting, considering you have a 30-inch draw length, extremely good performance out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's going to happen this year. I think I'm going to have to shoot the 33 and with the FDS. So
Yeah.
I haven't played with that bow yet. I know we got him in today too. So I'll play with that and see. But yeah, this car at 30 inches, like, ooh, I don't know if I could do that or not. But so what else is new at PSC? I mean, you guys got anything else? I mean, I know we can't talk. 27's coming up. You guys are already working on 27.
Yeah,
that's always encouraging. Anything else new this year coming out? Target line staying the same.
So target line's mostly staying the same. We do have a new laser with a few new features. So it now has Easy 220 on it. So it's a lot more tunable for the shops, for those budget target archers trying to get into that realm. Still really good performance, highly adjustable on that bow. Should be a really solid product. But yeah, our target line is largely staying the same right now, but we're pretty excited about some pretty good changes next year. So I think people will be very excited for that stuff.
That's cool. So are all the bows going to the 220 system? Are those even going down lower in the realm of I know it's on the high end bows. You see it's going to be on the laser now. Are we looking at doing it on some of the lower line bows as well, or is it going to stay still as the regular shims?
So yeah, they'll be basically on everything that's deemed as what was Pro Series. So laser's still Pro Series. It's just basically our lowest line on that. And then we actually do have a drive replacement called the Brute Force on the hunting line. That's going to be that mid price point. I don't know exactly what the pricing is on it, but it will actually have the EC2 cam and EZ220 on it.
Oh, nice. Okay. Nice. That'd be good.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
For people that don't know, real quick, what is the EZ220? Like, I know we all know it's the snap shims, but you want to kind of explain it a little bit?
Yeah, the EZ220 system is our tuning system at PSE. It allows us to shift the cams back and forth and induce cam lean to help your tuning in your paper tear, as well as bare shaft and broadhead tuning, so on. But yeah, so we have a series of snap shims that use a tool. All you need to do is press the bow, take the load off, pop the shims out, and basically you have two shims and they need to add up to 220. So we have 100 and 120 that come factory stock. If you needed to say shift your cam to the right, you just swap those over. If you needed to shift your cam to the left, we have extra spacers that are in 80-140 and 60-160 that can get popped into there to, induce cam lean and get it to where you need it to be for your personal settings.
Yeah, makes it super helpful for the shops. You don't have to take those apart and deal with 30,000 shims and
It's a
P-clips
great
flying
system.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
super
when it
fast.
first came out, I was like, I don't know, man. Plastic shim, like you see them shooting out all the time. It's been great. I love
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And not like everybody else, you won't be in a lawsuit with these everybody else's
Exactly.
and their systems that they're having right now.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
a great system.
what I personally like from an engineering side and a user side, people may disagree with me, but that's fine. I like repeatability in a shim system. So if you have it in one setting and you want to change your tune, you can change it. But if that tune doesn't work for you, you can go back to the exact same spot that you were at
No,
versus infinitely adjustable systems. You're sitting there trying to measure it with calipers or just take best guess as to how many turns you were, you don't know exactly where you were when
that's
you
a good
left.
point. I never thought about that. That's exactly
Yeah, it
right.
is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm.
Yeah, it works great. It's so for us in the shop. It's the old PSC days with with 15 freaking little plastic shims that you drop on the ground
Yeah.
and be like, oh my gosh, and when the
Oh,
black hole.
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, back in the day, it just discouraged you from even shifting your cams because it was just such a chore you didn't want to do. So you just move your rest, and that was good enough.
Yeah.
Now it's
Yeah.
so easy. You just pop them in and out, and you get so much more adjustability
Well,
and
and
so much more
there's no
tuning power.
excuses now. No,
Yeah,
nobody, no shop should ever just be moving rests around. What
yeah,
was it? Not just your guys' bill, but most of those now. There's
Everywhere.
no reason to be. I still get to see bills that come in and the rests are still off one side or the other. It's like there's no call for that anymore. It's not that hard to do it anymore. So
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
We're
well, it's
seeing the
cool.
archery industry go towards inline accessories. You got the pick mounts or bridge lock mounts. Everybody's kind of got their answer for that. From an engineering standpoint, is there really an advantage to mounting your sight in front of the riser versus to the side of the riser, other than weight?
So the only advantage I see, and I mean, again, there's definitely some products out there that do reduce weight, don't get me wrong, but there are definitely some products that put it in line, but they're really pretty much the same weight.
Right.
So the biggest thing that I see as an advantage is anything, especially with quivers and even sights. Anytime you do get that mass closer to the center of your grip, is again the less torque and the less influence those accessories have on your product. The less you may need to kick your stabilizer out or run more stabilizer weight to compensate for that kind of stuff. Those products I can absolutely get behind, and that's why some of our quivers, for instance, that CGM system, it's not necessarily the tightest fitting product out there, but it is also so light that it effectively does the same thing. There's so little mass out where it is that it's not really affecting the balance of your bow very much.
Right.
Talking about this pick sight mounts, I'm not a fan of them, and the reason why is I want to be able to move my sight in and out. If I'm torque tuning or whatever, trying to get a peep alignment, well, you get a pig mount, you're stuck there. And I just
Yep.
don't like that feeling. I'd rather have the ability to move things as I want to. But for the site, I didn't talk people out of it. I'm just like, it's not something you want to do. I mean, it looks cool. It's slick. It moves everything over, but you cannot move anything. You're just stuck wherever it falls at.
Yep.
Yeah. But
Yep.
no
Yeah.
real
I,
like accuracy advantage, no other than like weight and kind of torqueability.
Yep. Yep. And I do think pick mounted sites and inline sites and stuff like that have become popular enough where a lot of site companies have basically created larger windages to account for all the variance in riser geometries and stuff like that. So again, I think some of your weight savings is kind of washed out there.
Right.
It's universal. You can use it on more products, which is great. But yeah, I'm kind of in line with Brian where I like to be able to move my stuff. I am a torque tuner. That's kind of getting into the weeds, the kind of next level of tuning stuff. But I do firmly believe in that kind of stuff. I do think it helps, especially at distance, doing the Western hunting that we do.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's an
It looks
underrated.
cool. I mean, the picture
Yeah.
it's clean looking. It's
Mhm.
nice. I don't, and I get in trouble for saying this, but I don't know if it's not more of a, hey, this is our side, our bracket. we can sell more of our stuff. It's a money grab me more than it really is a benefit as far as effectiveness to it, I think. And I could be totally wrong, but for me, these guys that keep buying these things, like, man, you can't move it. If your peep doesn't line up, now you're mentioning peep housings and things like that. It's just, I'm much rather be able to move on a dovetail, but that's just me.
Yep. Yeah. And I do think, again, I think the biggest benefit to all of that kind of stuff, when the companies do it properly, and it's basically our goal, in our bows too, is what I believe is having the lightest base platform gives you the most freedom to add weight where you need it to get the stability. You don't want that heavy, bulky system that you don't want to add weight to it because it's already so heavy. That's why our carbon bows are kind of unique and nice in that sense that they're that sub 4 pounds, 3.9 pounds. And I can put weight, I can put 2 bars, I can put weight on my stabilizers, and I just weighed it today. My fully set up bow is 6 3/4 pounds still. Still very light, packable.
When I switched over to the Mach, that was my hesitancy, because I always shoot heavy bows. People always grab my bows and, man, your bow weighs so much. It sucks to pack them around, but there's just so much more stable for me when I got to make the shot. And so when I went to the Mach, I was like, man, this is such a light bow. I think I'm going to get blown all over the place. But I found I could put my weight where I wanted to, and I could really work on my stabilization the way I wanted it. So I had that freedom now. And that gap in the weight that I could do, it made a huge difference for me personally.
Yeah.
So the Sicario and the Mach 33, pretty similar specs as far as axle to axle. I mean, obviously brace height's different. How do you get that different brace height?
Yeah. So the Sicario is a completely new platform, completely new riser, that we're making at the factory still. So we've tweaked the geometry. Obviously, it has a little bit more reflex in the riser to shorten that brace height up, but we have tweaked the pocket angle a little bit. Generally speaking, you're going to get that better performance from that slightly more stood up pocket. It also happens to help with, in my opinion, I do think that kind of geometry helps with aiming, generally speaking. That's why a lot of our target bows have very steep pocket angles. They aim great, but again, you're not gonna. They don't feel as good. They're a little bit louder. All of those things. They wouldn't make a good hunting bow.
Yeah. So you're kind of just bringing some of that into the hunting side, essentially.
Correct. Yeah.
So, Dave, back in the day, we used to talk about limb angles and things like that, and we used to always compare, like, target limbs are more of an upright angle, and then a limb going forward and backwards toward the target is more accurate than a limb coming up and down, back and forth this way, and obviously it's going to be louder. It's going to have more vibe to it and things like that. And we see these limbs getting so much shorter and so much beyond parallel now because they're getting quieter. They're getting less vibration.
Right.
Is a limb that's more upright then more accurate than a limb that's more canted back?
I do think, again, from that direction, if you think about a limb that's more vertical, it's harder to rotate that versus a limb that's like this. They can pivot really easily like this,
Yeah.
but when they're stood up, they don't naturally want to torque. So yes, again, in that way, you do get more stability. I think accuracy largely comes down to, again, shooting style, what fits you, what's comfortable, because ultimately, if you're not comfortable behind the bow, you're not going to shoot well. You can't force yourself to shoot more holding weight because someone says to shoot more holding weight. You can't force yourself to shoot whatever if it's not comfortable to you.
Well, I've always said in the past too that, there's bows you like to shoot that you want to go shoot. And then you get bows like, I should go shoot my bow tonight, but I really don't want to, and it's just kind of this up and down effect in it. And when I started shooting the Mach 34 a couple of years ago, it was a bow that I really enjoyed shooting. I had like, hey, let's go shoot this bow. I do have a question for you. When we're talking, you said that the Sicario is more reflexed than the Mach. What's the reflex? How much more reflex is that? Do you know?
So I don't have it written down. I want to say the Mach 33 is somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 2.25 inches of reflex. And I believe the Sicario is somewhere closer to 2.5 to 2.75 inches of
Okay.
reflex.
So would that be when we talk about how much more stability the effective brace height has? Well, by bringing that into a reflex, are we kind of countering that? Are we making that a wash because now we're going to a reflex riser versus a deflex riser more?
So I don't personally believe so.
Okay.
Again, and this is purely based off of my shooting experience with the bows. Um, so like I said, some people will argue that straighter risers are going to shoot better. But I think it all, again, I think it all plays together. You have multiple things going on. You have riser geometry, whether you have a reflexed, a straight, or a deflexed handle. You also have limb pocket angle, and then you have your cam geometry. And all of these things are coming together to produce stability and forgiveness. So yes, like you can produce a longer riser, and that potentially may give you more stability in that aspect. But more than likely to get that long riser, you have a more laid back pocket, which is naturally going to be less stable. And again, depending on your cam design, you may get more or less stability. So it's really finding that balance of truly what's giving you what we're trying to accomplish is not just the most forgiving bow, because you can produce the most forgiving bow. It's not that hard, but I can almost promise you it's going to be really slow. Um, but so we're really trying to balance that. What is the most forgiving platform we can have while maintaining the best speeds?
Yeah. The archers always seems to be a trade-off.
Yeah.
Always trying to find the best of both worlds, and some of that's hard to find.
Yep.
And I've always been a guy. In my target setups, I always like a strider handle.
Yep.
That's just for me. It just aims better. I can load the thing up some weight. I've never been a really good reflex guy. But other people love reflex bows, so
Yep.
it's just kind of a shooting form, I guess. So
Yep.
cool.
Yep. Yeah, great for instance there. So we do have our two target lines. Our dominators are a little bit reflexed. They're anywhere from a 1/2 inch to an inch of reflex. Our Supras are about 3/4 of an inch of deflex. And we have shooters that have shot extremely well with deflex risers, and we now have the world #1 shooter shooting a reflex bow.
Yeah.
So it's, largely that shooter preference, and that's why we like to offer a range of products.
And reflex usually translates into faster too, does it not? Normally.
Yeah, generally
Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah. Yeah. The super line is like that bow is just as money. I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally the easiest bow to aim and point. It seems like so.
So any big hunts planned this year? Or did you have, I mean, you said you shot your deer in January.
Yep.
So
That makes
Yep.
for a
Got a deer
long
in
year.
January. Went out hunting in August. Looked for bears and found a good sow. But she had some cubs with her.
gotcha.
Otherwise, I have some other family hunts, rifle hunts that I'm excited about. Get out and do that, and get ready for January again.
Start over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you taking the Sicario this next year? Or I guess you'll be taking the next one, huh?
Yeah, I'll be taking the Sicario as of right now, unless I get my prototypes early enough, and then I'll be testing that stuff out. I do like to try to get at least one animal with each bow before I put it away.
Yeah.
There
So,
you go.
Feel a little blood on it.
yeah.
So when you're out hunting, when you got your prototypes, is it like top secret? You got that bow hidden in the back of the truck under wraps?
Yeah, I mean, I shoot it at the factory, and then I'll bring them home, and I shoot them at home, and I'll take them out into the desert by myself and shoot them and stuff like that. But yeah, there's no pictures going out, anything like that. A lot of times I am hunting by myself, so no one's around, no one really
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you mislabel them.
Yeah, I may be known to put the wrong graphics on stuff occasionally.
Oh, is that what the
For
secret
people
is?
out. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, Dave. Well, I appreciate you coming on with us and explaining this to us. This has
Yeah.
been super beneficial from a shop standpoint. We're gonna have some real good talking points this year and kind of a head start for once.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem. It's been great
it's been
talking to you guys.
great. Yeah, we love having you on. It's you know, it's all about I got another question for you. We're talking about that. You
Mhm.
know, we're talking this effective brace site. PSC has never been known to be a big marketing company. Obviously, I mean, you have your big marketing companies and the money they spend. Are you guys going to try and make a push? I guess this might not be in your wheelhouse, but it seems like with that information out there, we need to get that out to the public as much as possible and get them educated. Because a lot of pro shops are not ever going to talk about this stuff. We know that. There's going to be order takers. So do you guys have a plan to get this out, this information out there to the public more?
Yeah, so our marketing team has been putting in quite a bit of work, and I've been working with them to get them a lot of this technical information. And they've been developing several basically pieces of literature to educate dealers and reps and stuff on all of this product. That is something we really are trying to push more this year, is really get everyone educated on the benefits of our product and what we're doing as a company, what our goal is. And hopefully people are aligned with that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, again, thanks for coming, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
going to
Thanks
be
for having
exciting.
me.
I'm curious to see how this works out this year. Which bow
Yeah.
is going to be the hottest bow or not? It's going to
Yeah,
be
we
Yeah.
might have
interesting. So
to redo this and re-talk about it.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm down for
All
that.
we're
said
going to
and
do a
done.
recap on this one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd
So
be great.
that's cool. All right. Was that a wrap then? We
Yeah,
good?
you got
Anything
anything
else?
else to add?
Dave, we
Yeah.
left anything out?
No, I think we're good. I'm good with it.
Yeah. How big is that whitetail you killed?
So this guy, he was all broke up. So I was telling Antonio,
Oh,
so I was actually chasing a buck I found that was like upper 90-inch buck.
oh,
And I blew a stock on him, and I was down kind of in some flatter stuff with this buck, and he was coming across the ridge about 200 yards away, and I just doe bleeded at him. And I'd never called in a deer ever before, and he literally heard that thing and just turned, locked on, and just walked straight at me to like
really?
40 yards. And I was like, I can't pass that up. This is
He committed
awesome.
suicide.
Yeah, so smoked him. I did my first archery coos buck was this guy up here.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
that one's about 86 inches. I got that with my Mach 34, and that was a really awesome deer too. I just
What's
recently got into coos deer hunting. I love them.
that's addicting, man. I'm telling you, it could get in your blood bad. You know, I
Yeah.
remember back in the days when, you know, a guy killed a 100-inch whitetail with his bow. He'd be like, "Oh my gosh, you killed a stud." Now it
Hmm.
seems like if it's, I think it's because of social media.
Oh,
But you know, if it's
100%.
not 115, 120, nobody wants to talk to you about it. You know,
Uh-huh.
I'm like, had a guy come in this last year, and he killed one. I think it was a 24A. It's like a 104-inch. He's like, "Yeah, I killed this." I'm like, "Dude, that's a stud. That is a great
Yeah.
buck, man." He's like,
Uh-huh.
"Well, it's on 120." I'm like, "There aren't too many guys killing 120 bucks." I mean, I'm telling you now,
No.
you may think there's a lot of them. There's not very many of them out there.
No, and
So
even myself, again, I may work in the industry, but being just an avid hunter, like, yeah, you see that on social media all the time. People kill these giant deer, and you think, oh man, I'm not doing good enough. I got to find bigger, better deer. But just getting out there and loving it, and shoot what you can, find what you can. You're always
absolutely.
improve.
Yeah, people get too wrapped up in a score number, and
Yeah.
people don't really know what that score even actually is.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, I always translate it to elk. You know, you take a guy out and a 380 or nothing. You know, and
Yeah.
at the first 320 walks out, he's at full draw getting ready to rip it. You're like, whoa, 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 that's not. You're a long ways away. Yeah, they don't realize how big these animals are,
Yeah.
and social media is like the worst. I mean, it's, you know, people that go out there now and they have this expectation that they put on themselves and this pressure they put on themselves. And so it's too bad because it's,
Yeah.
you know, I always tell people all the time, my most memorable hunt I've ever had in my life, I never drew my bow back at all. I mean, I
Hmm.
spent 3 weeks on the Navajo up in the Carrizo Mountains, and I
Hmm.
never drew my bow back, but I had the best hunt ever.
Yeah.
You know, it's about being out there. And if you get one, you get one. I tell guys all the time, people come in and they want to get into bow hunting. Well, it's a lot more bow hunting than killing. You know, as
Oh
long as you
yeah.
have that up front and you know that, be patient.
So yeah, I mean, I growing up in Southern California, generally speaking, the hunting's not very good down there,
No.
and so I grew up just basically appreciating being out and hiking around and spending time with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't until I moved to Arizona where I'm like, wow, we're actually consistently seeing animals, and this is pretty awesome. And then you're actually consistently harvesting animals and stuff like that. It's something that you
Right.
just learn
Keep
to
that down.
appreciate being out there.
Yeah,
Don't
we
say
don't
that
tell
so
people that
loud.
anymore. We got enough hunters as it is in here in the state. But it's funny is you talk about the pressure that people put on themselves, and I get it. A guy comes in, he drops $3,500 on a bow, he buys $1,500 worth of camo, he's got a freaking side by side, and he could be into a hunt $5,000.
Yeah,
And to come and to come home empty handed, it's kind of hard to swallow that pride or explain to the wife, well, I got nothing. I think people put a lot of pressure on themselves, and I think that's why a lot of little animals get killed too, though. It's kind of like, hey, if it's brown is down, I'm successful. I killed something. And I think that we're going to do a podcast on this here pretty quick about, why do we hunt? Why are we out there type thing? So I think people need to ask themselves this. I had a lady the other day ask me, she says, why do you hunt? I did the default question. I do it for the meat. Well, I kind of lied. I really don't do it for the meat. I don't need the meat. I can go buy the meat cheaper at the store.
Right? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
if you want to get into the dollars and things on it. So I think we need to ask ourselves as hunters, why are we really out here doing this? And I think people need to be honest with it. So, but that's fine. That's a great buck though. Good buck.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I'm jealous.
Your home shop looks just like your workshop. Just antlers everywhere.
Antlers everywhere.
Just looks just like your office.
Yeah, I've also been fortunate enough. I think it makes sense with all the lions I've found. So in the last 2 years, I've found 14 Coues deadheads, and probably 60 Coues sheds. So
yeah, have you killed a lion?
I have not. I haven't had a rifle any of the times that I found one. And I missed one with a pistol at 15 yards. It walked up on me while I was glassing, and I just suck at shooting a pistol. And then I did have a lion, 3 of them actually. I tried calling them in. I glassed them up at 700 yards. They had no interest. Stalked in, and they kind of caught me at about 80 yards. And all I had was a frontal shot. I practice a lot. I took the shot. I hit about 3 inches to the left of them, right past their chest, and they just stood up and trotted off. But
yeah, 80
that'd
yards
be quite an
funnel, tough shot.
accomplishment. 80 yards period is a tough shot sometimes. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, a lion's 10 inches wide or something.
Yeah, that's a shot right there if you make that one. Well, it's been fun, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
It's been great to talk to you. We've known you for a while, and like I said, we PSC's a good company. I know you guys are going through some changes right now, and hopefully they end up being for the better. And the future looks bright. Hopefully we can all have a great year this coming year.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Super excited for it. I'm pumped.
Well, thank you guys.
I don't say that about a lot of hunters.
You don't say that about a lot of anything.
No, I don't.